talk about a problematic little gem that this car has been. The 06 STI, we're on our second set of heads for this car. The first set that came with the car was cracked when I bought them, so they were scrap. I bought a second set, they had some internal damage. Technically, we're on our third set now. Just got a call from the machine shop. They're supposed to be done today. They need all new valve seats. So we are gonna be delayed on our engine stuff just a little bit longer on the 06 STI. I'm fingers crossed hoping that the new valve seats are gonna be able to come in today, so that way we can get the heads back early next week. But in the meantime, we still have some more chassis stuff to do. I would like to heavily detail the interior of this car because it is pretty nasty. We have to fix that reverse lockout issue, and we've got a couple of other goodies to toss on the car. So let me show you what I got on the table, because this is actually one that I am pretty hyped for. We're gonna be starting this video off with this OEM STI V Limited front lip. We snagged this from the guys at Flatiron Tuning also because they have a ton of sweet OEM goodies. The kit comes with the OEM lip, the documents for how to install it, all of the hardware, and it even gives you templates to be able to install this on the bumper. So we're gonna be starting with this. We'll probably jump to potentially fixing our reverse lockout issue in this video. We've got some other small stuff to toss on this chassis. I did get some more stuff in for the car, such as a brand new engine harness, as well as some other goodies. We've got all new hardware for the side skirts. I'd like to get those back on the car permanently as well. Now, funny enough, I was actually on the phone with John the other day. We were talking for about an hour or so, and we were going through it, and it is confirmed Subaru is discontinuing parts for the GD chassis. So if you do have a GD chassis and you're seeing anything in this series, this is probably the last GD chassis. I might actually keep this car now, knowing that they're discontinuing a lot more for it. I don't quite know yet, but with that in mind, if you have a GD chassis and there's anything on the OEM side of things that you need to replace, rebuild, or reseal, or do anything like that, I would suggest snagging it sooner than later, because parts are already being discontinued for this chassis. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump to our front lip. It does make me kind of sad to see that GD stuff is now getting discontinued, because I mean, these cars have, I don't see them as being as old as they are. And I guess after 20 years, Subaru starts discontinuing stuff. It's not technically out of the norm, but it still kind of sucks. All right, so we've got our bumper here. The way that I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna go ahead and get the bumper or the lip set up on here with the OEM pop clip locations. Grab a Sharpie. I mean, you can use the templates if you want from Subaru, but I find it a lot easier. Mock the lip up with the factory pop clips. Use a Sharpie to pinpoint the holes, and then we're gonna drill the holes and get all of the nut certs in. Just like that. And now we've got all of our hole locations for where everything has to go. And I'm gonna come through here and just kind of mark where all of these holes are. The lip. And once all the holes are drilled, we push in these little rubber grommet guys, and then as we put a screw in to tighten into these, they will expand on the backside, grabbing the polyurethane bumper. So it's like rubber on polyurethane, and they'll hold pretty well together, to be honest. We've got all of the factory hardware supplied. I did opt to add a couple self-tappers right there just because the gappage was a little bit bigger. But going across the lip, if you just mark your holes for all of these well nuts with a Sharpie, like I did, just mock it up using the pop clips, get it all aligned, and then just mark it with a Sharpie. It's a lot easier than using the templates. You can use the templates if you want. Don't get me wrong, if you buy a lip with templates. But now that we've got the lip on, let's get this thing back in the car. I have a feeling this is gonna make the Subaru look substantially better. Nope. I don't know about you guys, but that lip, honestly, a lip changes the entire front end for how a car looks. I think that looks phenomenal, especially with it being the OEM V Limited lip. The OEM stuff just fits so freaking good. If there's an OEM option, I'm a whore for OEM parts. You guys know me, I love OEM parts. So with our lip done, which that looks great, it fits freaking perfect too. I actually want to jump to cleaning out the interior of this car because every time I get in it, it feels disgusting. And since I'm going to be sitting in this car quite often for tuning and just driving it around, I want it to be somewhat clean. So we're going to go ahead and take out the front seats, vacuum and shampoo all of the seats and the carpets to get this thing feeling fresh and new, wipe down all the dust and whatnot. I personally don't feel like a car is really yours until you go through and you clean out all of the old person's filth out of it. That might just be me, I don't know. Seats are shampooed. While that one is still ripped, there is way less poop in these. I'm gonna be honest, the water coming out of these seats was straight black, especially on the headrest. You'd be surprised how much stranger sweat goes into these seats, but I got realistically, probably 90% of it out. On the inside of the car, the carpets have been shampooed, back seat has been shampooed, so we're gonna let all this kind of air dry overnight. Then we'll get the seats back in. I am going to order a replacement lid for that, as well as the cup holder, since that is broken. I would like to replace the broken stuff with non-broken stuff. This is actually probably the worst example of an STI I think I've ever bought. I mean, this thing, I thought it's worse than I predicted it to be, not saying that it's not savable, but it's a lot more work to save this than I was originally anticipating. But that's all right. We're deep in it. We're gonna save this car. I need to figure out what I wanna do with this hood here. I don't know if a PDR guy can fix that. Obviously it's gonna need to be repainted, but I just don't know. Maybe I can find a replacement hood in this color. That'd be really sweet if I could, and then I could just junk this hood to put a non-dented one on there. Because like I said, I'd like to make the body whole again. Everything in here seems pretty dry. It's the next day. I was gonna toss these back in, but we're actually gonna be picking up another set this weekend to toss in here that don't have any rips or tears or anything like that in them. So those are actually going to go into another one of the Imprezas we have out there. So interior, we're just gonna kind of let that air out. But we actually need to pop off the tail shaft housing of our transmission here to see why our reverse lockout is not working. Somebody went through here and hardcore re-siliconed everything, and there is no detent stopping us from going into reverse if we're trying to go into 6th gear. So we need to see what the hell's going on here. So in the last video, if you're curious how most of this stuff comes off, there is a video showing you guys how to replace all of these bushings and whatnot. So we're just gonna time lapse through this. I have to take drive shaft out, which means I probably gotta take the exhaust off. Oh my God, dude, this is gonna be so much work. I'm gonna have to support the transmission. I'm not looking forward to this, if we're being honest, but we gotta do it. So first things up, gotta drain fluid out of the transmission, or the front diff and the transmission. Gear oil looks like it has been recently changed, so somebody has been in this transmission recently. It drives, like the transmission feels fine, except for that one issue that we're having. Take the transmission out and make my life easier. Do I want to do this in the pain in the ass way? I feel like it's gonna be way easier to just take the transmission out and do all this. Transmission is out. That hydraulic cart comes in clutch. So honestly, you can do this in the car. I just felt like it'd be way easier to do it out of the car. So to get the tail shaft housing off, we're gonna have to get this fork off, which is held in by the 2 roll pins. We can leave that on, but I'll probably take it off. We need to punch out the little guy right there, holding the reverse lockout spindle guy in there, and then undo all the bolts going around this, and we should be able to get this thing off. So let's dig into this and see why the hell we have no detent to stop us from going into reverse. Clean up the transmission. It's already out. Why not? You know, I'm like right here. You could repowder coat all this stuff. We can make this thing nice. Dude, it's like just, it doesn't want to let go. There it goes. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I just tap on the bolt, tap it vertically. You gotta be, I mean, be reasonable because you'll bend the bolt, but at least you won't mar up the case or beat the shit out of the case trying to get it to separate. They should have 1 or 2 hits to...
I was about to say, have you ran into many that are not coming apart?
No. Only ones I ever really seem to have issues once in a while is 5 speeds. But honestly, I don't have problems getting them apart. I just, generally, they're a pain in the ass to get able to... like there's a paper gasket on most 5 speeds that's kind of a pain in the ass and looks like shit.
Plastic mallet. I have the tail shaft. How's it? Why does this feel like it doesn't want to come out?
No. Well, that would be the only thing, depending on how that thing, if it was complete at all, sometimes that can create some play.
Okay, there's like a needle a 2-piece bearing thing that just kind of fell out.
Yeah, those are normal. Those are part of the DCCD thing. Those are the things you have to grease back into place.
Oh, okay. Those are these guys. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look terrible. Like, there's definitely...
it's all fine. Everything looks happy and good there.
I mean, that's good. It's supposed to be like where...
Ooh, hey, that's fucked up.
This?
That little plastic piece shouldn't be there.
This?
In the little end of that little nick. Yeah, pull that little thing out and throw it in the garbage.
We have identified what is wrong with our 6 speeds reverse lockout, and come to find out we actually found a couple other issues. So I had to kind of step away. Johnny was walking me through how to disassemble this. So the first issue that we actually found is this rear bearing has too much play in it. I don't want to touch it too much because I don't have gloves on, but this bearing does have a good amount of side-to-side play, so we are going to be replacing this bearing. Apparently that is fairly common for those to go out on the 6 speeds. There was a good amount of metal up in here where I wiped all that out. Secondly, there is this broken piece of plastic that I found floating in the transmission housing, and that's actually supposed to be for an oiler or an oiler guide that's supposed to go in this. Now, I don't know where the rest of it is. This is the only piece that we actually found of it, so I honestly don't know where the rest is. And then the reason the reverse lockout wasn't working is right through this hole right there where that screwdriver is. If you guys look at the side of this, that screwdriver passes through these entirely. In this one, there goes a detent and a spring, and this one goes the entire mechanism for the reverse lockout, and there's a keyway on it that pushes on it's like a pill or a sphere into the detent, and that is what keeps you from going into reverse when you're trying to go into 6th gear. Now, this pill was missing entirely from this tail shaft housing, which means that it's obviously not there, which means it's not going to do its job. So it's not going to stop us from going into reverse if we're trying to go into 6th gear. So I had to order a handsome amount of parts for this. I called Subaru, and I had to call them because they wouldn't sell the part through their online diagram or online. So this is going to have to wait until Saturday when parts come in for it. I believe the bearing, all the reverse lockout stuff. I opted just to replace all of the reverse lockout components with some new stuff because it is pretty old, grungy, and there's a bearing in there. There's a couple seals and whatnot. So this we're going to set aside for now, but good to know that the issue with our reverse lockout was just a missing piece right there. So honestly, it's a pretty easy fix. After talking with Johnny and going through it all, it's not overly complex. This is something that you guys can do at home if you really wanted to, and you do not need a transmission expert to walk you through it. But if you want go, by all means, go for it. Now, the next thing we're gonna do while we have the transmission out is pull off this pan. Johnny did tell me that inside of this pan, there is probably a good amount of metal based off of what we found on the bearing. There's a magnet that actually sits inside of this pan. So we're gonna take off all the tens that hold this to the transmission, clean that out thoroughly, and then we can reapply sealant on there and get it back on. We're gonna have to run to the parts store to go grab some brake clean to be able to clean the mating surfaces on that, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Oh my God. I gotta call Johnny and show him that. Dude, that's so much metal. I gotta call Johnny, man. That's actually, I don't know if that's concerning. Oh dude, there's chunks.
Is there?
That's a chunk.
Yeah, can you brake clean that for me?
I don't have any brake clean right now. Hang on, let me feel around and see.
Wipe it.
There's
Wipe it so I can see that piece clean.
Dude, there's a lot of chunks. I mean, I drove it home.
Yeah.
So like, it's gotta work, right?
That fucking tail housing, like it turned metal and bearings into Chernobyl and broken dreams and probably a loud ass noise on the freeway, to be perfectly honest.
Like, does this transmission need to be rebuilt?
You can pull that donut off of there, by the way.
Can I? In your honest opinion, does this transmission need rebuilt?
No.
Okay.
But I will say that
I trust you, so if you tell me no, I'm gonna trust you on it.
I'm gonna say no, but I'm gonna say with an asterisk of, yeah, I definitely want to clean this.
Fairly concerning amount of metal that I cleaned off of that, so I'm gonna trust Johnny. Johnny knows what he's talking about when it comes to transmission stuff. He said if it drove fine home, we'll do a cleaning for what we can do, so I'm gonna go pick up some brake clean. Our heads are also ready for pickup, so I'm gonna go pick those up. We'll probably jump to putting together our long block while we wait for our transmission parts to come in. We can't put the engine in until the transmission, I mean, we could put the engine in without the transmission being in, but it just seems kind of ass backwards to do it that way. So we'll get the long block ready to go in, rebuild the transmission stuff that we need to rebuild, get the transmission back in, get our engine in, and then we're gonna be well on our way to getting this thing ready to run. While I have the transmission mount out, what I might do is undercoat. I might do an undercoating in here. It's my problem, man. This is why I need adult supervision when it comes to rebuilding cars, because when I start taking things out, I want to fix it all. I want to fix everything. Since we're gonna be waiting on parts for this, we're gonna jump over to this. I picked up our cylinder heads this morning. I just went through and checked to see what all we have, and I believe we have everything to turn the short block into a long block. I did opt to have the intake manifold powder coated because it was pretty nasty before. This entire car was just disgusting when we got it, dude. I just spent the past hour cleaning up the valve covers a decent bit so that way they're somewhat clean-ish. But just to run over everything, we've got a set of B25 cylinder heads here, factory camshafts, GSC valves, and valve springs. These had to get the valve seats replaced also, so brand new valve seats in these. Company 23 timing belt kit, brand new OEM Subaru cam gears, RCM exhaust alloy cam gears, new AVCS solenoids, Company 23 timing belt guides for the edges of the timing covers, the center, and their half moons, brand new coil packs, NGK 2309s, brand new timing belt tensioner, dipstick tube, water bypass pipes. We've got cam seals, FU cam bolts, new oil lines, valve cover gaskets, valve covers, banjo bolts, crush washers, turbo drain, valve cover hardware, and timing belt hardware. Random everything, brand new timing covers. So I have built a million EJs, so you guys are not going to get any commentary on this. We are just going to go ahead and assemble our long block. We are using a set of ARP 2000s on this, so let's go ahead and build our engine. I've run into a little bit of a pickle here. I tossed some other stuff on just for shits and giggles, but our engine does not know what time it is. So I've built hundreds of these engines, and this is the first time I've actually run into this issue. No matter how many times I time this, or no matter where I time it, I can get, normally it's this side. These two timing marks will be the ones that don't line up. I have the crank sprocket moved off time just a little bit, you'll see there, because I know someone's gonna be in the comments be like, well, your crank sprocket's not in time. I know, that's intentional right now, so that way I could get these in time. The only way I can get the passenger side of the engine to get in time is by clocking the crank a little bit, which throws everything else off. So we have some eccentric pulleys coming to be able to clean that up. I think these are Facebook Marketplace cylinder heads. These are not brand new cylinder heads, so I don't know how many times these things have been machined in the past, but the only thing that makes sense is that these have been machined one too many times and the thickness has changed on them. So, I mean, the belt is in fact tight, but no matter where I time the engine, it always tosses that side of the engine off by about a tooth. And it's only the right-hand exhaust that gets thrown off by a tooth. So we at least have our short block turned into a long block back there. We've got our Grimspeed exhaust manifold. I had the intake manifold powder coated wrinkle black. We're using a DOS Performance Turbo on this setup. ID 1050s, TGV deletes, all the fun stuff. So until those eccentric pulleys come in, the guys at Flat Irons were nice enough to overnight those for me. When those come in on Monday, we can get this retimed. Our transmission stuff comes in tomorrow, so we can get our transmission fixed. I will die on the hill that this is by far the worst STI I have ever purchased. And it doesn't mean that we're not gonna make it good, we're not gonna make it great, but being real honest here, this is the nastiest, most untaken care of, worst example of an STI I have ever bought. I tell you guys this all the time, you want like a good quality GD chassis or anything like that, you're gonna pay out the ass at this point, because this is what they're all gonna be. Not maybe to this extent, but this is what they're all getting to. And it sucks because Subaru is now discontinuing parts for the GD chassis, so I don't know how. I'm sure somebody will do some reman parts on these because these are super popular cars, but hey, this thing's a pile of shit. We're gonna fix it so it's not as much of a pile of shit, but this car was pretty bad. So with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. I can't do anything else on the engine until we get those eccentric pulleys in. Can't do anything else on the trans till we get parts in. So right now it's just a sad shell of a car, but with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you're enjoying the 06 STI build, go ahead, hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, whatever color it may turn for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be able to put it in one of these corners, no idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.